President Biden announced new commitments to Native American nations during the White House Tribal Nations Summit today. The two-day event marks the first in-person summit of tribal affairs in 6 years and the second of President Biden's administration. Leaders and representatives from hundreds of Native American tribes are attending this summit. President Biden emphasized his administration's commitment to treating tribal nations with respect.
When I talk about respect, here's what I mean by respect. Respect for tribes as nations and treaties as law. Respect for indigenous knowledge and tribal consultations as a key part of the federal agency's decision-making. Respect means we'll defend tribal sovereignty and self-government and self-determination, and will support tribal economy and keep fighting for better tribal health care, child care, education, housing, public safety, and so much more. And respect means being there in person to show it.
Joining us now is CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Ed, always great to connect with you. Help us make sense of what President Biden was just saying there. What new actual commitments are being made beyond the sound bites that's being presented today and tomorrow?
Yeah, good to be with you. And look, this is an important issue for this administration, in part because it's restoring things to the way they were before the Trump administration, holding this meeting with tribal leaders from across the country in person in Washington, a priority for this administration. And in essence, what he's telling federal departments and agencies to do is work off the same song sheet when it comes to how you interact with these tribes on issues of public safety, economic development, health. There needs to be a better job done to make sure you're not only just checking a box when it comes to tribes, but listening to them, working with them in whatever way. There's things like making sure that the federal contracting dollars that are spent on Native American firms in whatever way is boosted. There's been, of course, a lot of reporting in recent years about the lack of criminal justice resources on Native American reservations across the country or in Indian country. And so there's a push to make sure that that's improving as well. All of it basically saying, look, this is a group of underserved people who need more attention and better attention from the federal government, and they're working on it. And, you know, by virtue of having Deb Haaland, for example, the Interior Secretary in place, the first Native American woman to hold the job, that both symbolically and from a policy perspective does a lot to start making changes that these tribal nations have been seeking for so long.
Yeah, and speaking of things that are now taking place in person that were remote during the pandemic, we also have the first official, I guess, state visit to the White House with French President Emmanuel Macron now in town. What can we expect on that front, and what are some of the kind of contentious issues that need to be ironed out or deals that need to be made?
Well, let's start with the contentious issues. Trade is a big concern now. The Inflation Reduction Act that was passed earlier this year essentially does a lot to subsidize and boost American manufacturing in other sectors, potentially to the detriment of European firms. And so there's big concern in the EU right now and in France specifically that given the amount of resources that are going to go into American technology firms, semiconductor development and whatnot, it might come at the expense of European ones at a time when that region, of course, is struggling with the war in Ukraine. And so there's the potential that the EU is going to throw up some subsidies and other, in essence, tariffs that would potentially spark at least a cold trade war. And so that's expected to be one of the things they talk about. They're going to have to talk about Ukraine, of course, as well. Been pretty solid commitments from Europe, from Macron especially, to continue those operations. But Macron has taken a slightly more diplomatic approach with Putin, believing that the Russian government still needs to be engaged more directly, unlike the American viewpoint. So that'll be a topic of conversation. But the mere fact that a state dinner is being held by this administration at all is notable and an accomplishment, given that they were under COVID restrictions up until about this time, certainly last year's Christmas season, and then well into the early part of this year. So they're eager to hold this party. You can see the Christmas bunting behind us, plus the French flag hanging and flying on the White House property and the executive office building next door. You'd think it was Christmas in Paris around here, and it will be, at least to some extent, through Thursday night when they hold their first state dinner. We're going to learn more details on what exactly is going on at that dinner, what's being served, what China they're using. All that comes later today. One thing we know, John Baptiste, the Grammy Award-winning musician, used to be the band leader on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, will be the musical performance at the state dinner on Thursday night, which again is the first one of the Biden years.
All right, a French end to the week. Ed O'Keefe,
Exactly.
thanks very much. Hope you can get a baguette on the way out. We appreciate you.
It'd be nice. Take care.